Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the daily Drop-In Morning Show, where the Teach Better team is live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn, and we are so appreciative that you are here. We have a very, very full show, and on our way here, it is Wednesday, February 16th. We have a whole lot to cover, especially since it's Wednesday. You know, we're going to end the show like we do every single Wednesday with resources and some ways to continue to go explore a number of different ideas. And then, of course, we have our holidays this week. We have our good news stories this week. And Adam is here, and I cannot wait to talk shop. So we are going to be right back. Feel free to send your messages in our comments. If you are tuning in live, good morning, good morning. And for everyone else, if you're catching this after the fact on Teach Better Talk podcast, we appreciate you. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on when you're listening. And let's get started. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, February 16th, and we have Adam on the show. Adam, how are you?
I'm good, Rae. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you. We've actually mentioned you a few times on the show leading up to this morning because I was so excited to catch up with you.
Yes, I believe last time we saw each other in Milwaukee, correct?
I was going to say, I don't know, but it's been ages. Milwaukee would have been so long ago.
It was, I think it was Summer Spark up in Milwaukee.
I love that conference, Summer Spark. Gosh, it's been years since I've been able to enjoy Summer Spark, obviously because of COVID and everything else going on in the world. So what year would that have been? Do you think 2019 maybe?
That was definitely 2019.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, but thanks for having me on.
Oh, thrilled to have you here. You know, Adam, I do know that a lot of people in our community are already connected to you because I've gotten messages after we sent out our email this week releasing who's going to be on the show, and people were so excited to see you. But of course, if we have somebody tuning in this morning that doesn't know you yet, which is, you know, welcome. I'm so excited that they get to meet you for the first time. Would you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I am. Man, what year of teaching am I in? I think I'm in 10th or 11th year. I don't know. I've lost count. But I teach 8th grade social studies at New Richmond Middle School, which is small town, small river town, about 25 minutes outside of Cincinnati. And so, and as I mentioned with Cincinnati now every time, Houday, go Bengals. So
I love it. You know, I will say I very publicly was maybe going for the other team, but today I will understand. We can say Bengals 100 times on the show this morning.
Okay. I would love it.
Love it. Good morning to everyone here. I think we have a bunch of people jumping in. Looks like Alex Valencic is even here this morning. He is, I think, at a conference. We have a little bit of a Teach Better crew getting together here in Illinois this afternoon. So if anybody's in the Chicagoland area and you consider yourself a Teach Better family member, Wednesday, February 16th, direct message me, call me. Let's do something. We'll have a little get together. So Adam, for educators that don't know your whole background, how did you get into your position that you're currently in?
So, well, it's actually a wild story. So right out of college, I wanted to teach tennis. And I said, you know what, I'm going to forgo subbing. I'm going to teach tennis. I'm going to take a chance and bet on the fact that teaching tennis can help me become a better teacher, and I can use that as necessary. Well, it turns out that wasn't the case. I got tired of teaching tennis and I left. I just up and quit. I even asked my well, now wife, but girlfriend at the time, I go, do you care if I just stop teaching tennis? I'm not making money. She goes, you do what you got to do. I'm like, all right, cool. And so I found my way into a district finally, like out of nowhere. I got called by a district to be a paraprofessional.
Sure.
And so I worked in a social communication unit. I think I made like $10 an hour, but I got my foot in the door, and then the county office I was working for had to lay me off after that, and so the actual district I was in picked me up, and then I had this position. It was called an LD tutor,
Hmm.
and basically I was a special ed teacher with 5 fewer kids than a certified special ed teacher. And in one of my meetings, a representative from the district I'm currently in, and this is my alma mater that I work in. And in December, he goes, "Hey, Adam, do you want to work in our district?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'll call you in May." And he called me in May, and he said, "Get your master's in special ed within 2 years, and done deal." And so that's what I did. And as soon as I finished my master's, I'm teaching social studies. So
Go figure, going to get a special ed master's and ending up in a social studies classroom.
exactly. And so I've been in the social studies classroom now for it's my 7th year of doing social studies here at New Richmond. So
No kidding.
yes.
Man, that's so fun. Yeah, I don't remember how we all got connected. Now that I'm thinking through kind of like the journey and the timeline, do you remember how you got connected to the Teach Better community?
You know what? I think it was through the Summer Spark up there
Yeah.
in Milwaukee, and that's where I met you guys for the first time, and that was where I actually presented for the first time ever,
Oh,
and then I remember watching you present on standards based grading. I
yeah,
remember watching Chad doing the grid method up there,
yeah.
and oh man. And then I spoke with another Teach Better member at one of the little roundtable sessions.
Nice.
Oh, what's her name?
Tiffany Ott.
That's it, Tiffany.
Yep. She used to
You
go with
got
me
it.
up there. I love Tiffany. So,
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
And so yeah, so I think that's where we all got connected first, up there in Milwaukee.
You know, it's really interesting. You know, later today, there's a conference that I had mentioned that there's a few people that are getting together. Um, Conferences are such a fun way to see, you know, other people that you engage with on social media. Summer Spark specifically is such a well done event, and I know that there's no comparing any conference, right? They all kind of
Yeah.
have their own culture and climate. They all kind of have their own mission statements, but Summer Spark to me is very similar to our goals for the Teach Better conference, where it's a more intimate conference. It's really focused on the experience as an attendee. And
Mhm.
it is about the sessions, but there's also other things going on outside of the sessions you're walking into. The goals, even during lunch, the goal in Summer Spark is always to really foster people having discussions, healthy conversations, networking. I love that event exists. They do such a good job.
Yeah.
But it is very similar, kind of like even to what we're trying to create with Teach Better, and so many ideas we got from that conference as well.
Yeah, and I know Chuck Taft did a nice job putting that together, and I think that's the last conference that I attended in person.
Oh
Was
yeah,
2019, yes,
and
and
that
ever
was the summer. They do their event in the summer.
yes, and ever since then it has been everything's been virtual,
Yeah.
and but I'm hoping to get to the um, Spring Q conference in California in mid March, and I think I'm going to end up presenting with Dr. Scott Petrie out there. So
Wonderful. How exciting. Good luck
yeah,
on that.
yeah,
That's a great event too. It's a very different feel. That's an awesome, awesome event for sure.
yes, yep. So
Well, we'll have to try and convince you to submit a proposal for Teach Better Conference as well. And for everybody listening, as you've probably heard me say 100 times, those open March 1st and they're open all the way through April. So you have the opportunity to kind of submit as many sessions as you want. And Adam, I know you'd be just a wonderful presenter there as well. So continue to share things. What are you presenting at Spring Q?
so Scott and I actually teamed up, and so I know John Crippo took the Edge of Protocols thing, and now he's branching out and doing specific subjects. And so Scott and I teamed up um, just for the last year, and we've been writing the social studies version or the history version of Edge of Protocols. So how to implement them in AP level high school classes down to the middle school level. So
Sure.
yeah.
Very cool. Oh, I think you're gonna have so much to be able to dive into with that.
Yeah.
We have a few questions in the comments with a lot of people saying good morning. Of course, good morning to everyone. We're thrilled you're here, Adam. I'm telling you, everybody was so excited to hear and learn from you this morning. This worked out just great. We do have a question about the availability to people outside of the U.S. I don't know if that has to do with the Teach Better conference or other things we've been discussing. I apologize. I haven't been looking at the comments as much as I should, but I will tell you if any of you are interested, of course, the Teach Better conference is open to anyone worldwide. We have a very large global community that we always love to welcome into any event that they are a good fit for. And we even have internal team members that are not only based in the US, but also based in Canada. So we always love to see our Canadian friends and people outside of our communities. I was just on a Zoom call yesterday, Adam, actually with Dan Edwardson, who's a part of our Teach Better community over in London. And he was discussing trying to make it out to the event. So it's always good to be able to see our international friends for sure.
Yeah, you guys are global. That's awesome.
So fun. You know, Adam, I did tell you we had one goal for our morning, like beginning conversation before we transition into our next segment, which will be good news.
Okay.
And both there's two things I was supposed to do, and both of them I've forgotten because we got into conversation. So we're gonna do this really quick. First and foremost, shout out to Amanda on our team who just released her first course in the Teach Better Academy. We're so excited and proud of her. We have a brand new course that came out bright and early this morning, and it is all about supporting grid method teachers in the elementary setting specifically. So we're really focusing on pre-K through 5 using the grid method. Amanda is able to share her tips and tricks throughout this course. And of course, we have a lot of resources for the grid method that exist. Obviously, that's a big mastery learning framework that we focus on. But holy cow, was it so amazing for Amanda to take that and kind of manipulate it to really fit an elementary classroom. So excited for Amanda and the work that she has done to put that together. And it's officially available. So you can see that over in Teach Better Academy, teachbetteracademy.com. Adam, the other thing we do is a little morning reminder. And I just got the announcement on my phone, which is so helpful that it reminds me. It's an app called Happy Feed. And what we do is that every morning before we get into too much discussion is we get a message from our guest, something that they are grateful for, something that they are happy about in their day, and we just document it in our app. We would love to be able to bring this to a number of different uses in the future, but we're going to keep a few of those ideas secret for now. Adam, since you're the guest on the show, we'd love to be able to kind of throw this to you and say, hey, what are you grateful for? And if you are stuck in any way, there's usually a hint category. Would you like to hear the hint?
Let's hear the hint.
Okay, just for fun. The hint says, are you planning any trips? Anticipation can make you happy even more than the trip itself. So what are you grateful for this morning?
You know what? I'm grateful for, I keep thinking I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they crack me up. Although sometimes they drive me nuts, but they crack me up. And so I am grateful for my 2 daughters, my wife, my family, all that good stuff.
I love it. 2 daughters, we said 2 and 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
So, and the one we just gave her as we call it, a big girl bed, the 2-year-old. And I forgot to check her in the morning on the monitor before I left. And my wife sent me a picture, and she was about 10 feet away from her bed, curled up on the floor in a little ball.
No.
But it was pretty cute though.
I love it. Well, I appreciate that. Message is saved. It's always fun to be able to share what we're grateful for. We'll be right back here with some good news. Good morning, everyone. We are thrilled that you are here celebrating Daily Drop-In with us, trying to get your morning started as you're drinking your morning cup of coffee, brushing your teeth, and picking out your outfit. getting ready for the day. I know Adam and I were joking before we went live that, he's ready, sitting in his classroom, ready for students to join him later this morning. So we understand that so many of us are kind of on the go bright and early. We appreciate you choosing to include us for just a bit in your morning routine. Adam, in this segment, we love to make sure to mention holidays and good news stories. And there's a little bit of a weird feel for the holidays today, but you know what? I always can find a reason to celebrate. So are you up for a little celebration?
Let's go for it.
All right.
Have my
Today
coffee.
is World Almond Day. So are you an almond fan?
Yes, I like the raw almonds from Trader Joe's.
Ooh, okay. So finding
Just
those and they're healthy, I think.
yes, that was about a year and a half ago. I decided to go vegan for about 3 months, and then quarantine and COVID hit, and then I'm like, I can't do this. And almonds were a major part of my diet during that 3 months. So
There you
but
go. I love it. Well, today is the day to celebrate almonds. The other holiday that's listed today, and as many of you know, sometimes we have 15 holidays we're celebrating. Sometimes there's only 2. This day is a little small on the holiday list. So if you're looking to create a holiday, February 16th might be your day to do it. This is an interesting holiday that I don't know how I might celebrate. It says, "Do a grouch a favor." So like
oh
find someone that's a little grouchy today. Go do
yeah,
a favor. Any thoughts on that?
I would say that ties into the random act of kindness week. You
Tell
know,
me about that. I know you were celebrating that this week. I love it.
and yeah, so I heard on NPR that it's Random Act of Kindness Week. I actually just heard that this morning. And one thing I do every single day is I write a daily message on my board and to my students. And yesterday, just by coincidence, I wrote, kindness is something we always talk about, but yet seems like it's so hard to do sometimes. And really, all it starts with is a smile. That's it. Just smile. And then maybe that can lead to a hi or how are you doing or something. And then that can just lead into bigger and better things. And so maybe all we need to do for that grouch is just smile at that grouch. Maybe that'll be enough. Who knows?
I think that we've given some very manageable challenges here on the Daily Drop-In. We're able to say, hey, maybe you could do a grouch a favor, or if you can't muster up the favor, a smile works. I like it.
Yes.
That's very doable. We had a good news story that we were sharing today that I know, Adam, you had a good news story that I wanted to add to this. The headline for this says, "This is the first time someone with cut spinal cord was able to walk freely thanks to new Swiss technology." So for those of you who are interested, there's a gentleman named Michael who was paralyzed during a motorcycle accident, and he completely severed his spinal cord. So he was fully paralyzed, and there was really no therapy for him because of the severity of his injury. So he had no sensitivity or use of his legs in any way, shape, or form. As they went through kind of looking at what his options were, there was a new technology coming out of the area that looked at some rehabilitation that had never been done before. He now, with this procedure, with the therapy, and with the work of incredible doctors, is now walking with a walker, utilizing this new technology. So they said that it was like a night and day experience. They've been able to go into so many different opportunities for future movement, and they kind of went into the technology that's being used to make this big medical save. So for those of you who are interested, it was a really, really wonderful article on not only obviously an accident gone wrong, but also how technology can really dramatically impact someone's life. I know we were talking about a similar story of a child who was struggling with also having a medical disability that then was celebrated this weekend at the Super Bowl.
Yes. So my Bengals are in the Super Bowl, and I know there's several kids around the tri-state area here in Cincinnati where various organizations and businesses purchased Super Bowl tickets and plane or airfare and hotel, and sent many kids from the Cincinnati area out to Los Angeles. And one of them was from our district, from my district. And I just think that's so cool to give those kids that experience. So
That's good. Any experience for anybody, right? Like, sign me
yes.
up. It's great that these kids were able to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Adam, in our next segment here, we're going to get into our Brainstorm Bank, which we're able to do every single morning, kind of get into our theme this week and also discuss what you're most passionate about. So we'll be right back. Good morning, everyone. As you know, our Brainstorm Bank happens every single show. This is an opportunity for us to pause and kind of share any concerns, any questions that we have in the comments. Adam and I definitely don't promise that we'll have the answer to all the things that you might be brainstorming, whether it be supporting a student, fostering a relationship with a colleague, a struggle with a leader, but we are trying to be here for you so that you know that you do not ever have to brainstorm alone. It really takes a village. So Adam and I are here to help with any of that. If there's anything that comes to mind that you want to utilize some brainstorming partners on, we are here for you this morning. Adam, if I was to ask you what your soapbox topic was, the thing that you are most passionate about, you just find yourself always striving to be a solution seeker in this area. What are you really passionate about as an educator?
I'm passionate about using technology effectively.
Ooh, tell me more.
It just, I, I don't know. It drives me nuts when I see just a simple worksheet copied onto a Google Doc. I just don't. I don't like that at all. I'm trying to be civil, I guess. And but how can we use technology in ways to really transform and transcend learning? And how can we get the most out of our students with technology? How can we, and ultimately what it comes down to is, if I'm going to use something in my classroom, or I'm going to do a lesson, I'm going to use some sort of strategy or technology or something, what it comes down to is the 4 C's. How can I get students creating, critically thinking, collaborating with each other, and then communicating their learning, with whether it's with me or with each other? And if I can cover at least 3 or more of those C's with technology, I'm all in. And I'll give an example here, because I actually really I tried out a lesson. I love to try stuff. I just go for it, make it happen, and if it's good, then great, we'll tweak it a little bit. If it's not good, I'll sit and reflect about it and make it better. I just did this lesson where, and I do this all the time, totally guilty of this. I walked in to school, and the previous day I had a lesson. I was in the middle of a lesson. We were going to finish it up on this given day. And I sat down, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? We're just going to delete that and get rid of it. We're going to start fresh. We're going to do something new. And so the students were learning about the Louisiana Purchase. And I wanted them to look at the different perspectives of the purchase from 2 different political parties of the time. And I scrapped the original lesson and I did something new. And this is what I'm talking about, effectively using technology. So I gave the students a Google form, and this is actually the what we call the research protocol in our new social studies book coming out. But basically, I shared a Google form with the students, and I told them, you need to in the resources that I give to you, here's the question. Here's the overall central question. Here are the resources where you can find your answers. Here's a Google form. I need you to submit through this form a quote from one of the resources that shows how the Federalists felt about the Louisiana Purchase, and then you need to explain it in your own words, add more information to it, and then you need to put which source it came from. And so and I gave them 15 minutes to submit 4 responses. Those students were submitting through the Google form, and I created a spreadsheet with it, and I had the spreadsheet on the board, and I'm giving feedback in real time on, hey, this explanation is good, or this quote doesn't quite fit because, and then students are seeing that, they're hearing that, and they're sharing all this information. It's like a spreadsheet. In 15 minutes, we had like over 100 quotes from students. And so that to me is critically thinking. They're creating the information, right? They are collaborating with each other. And now I'm communicating and giving feedback. And well, then what happens now is they have that spreadsheet. They write down their own reasons on both sides. I gave them a diagram or a graphic organizer, and then we use that to write a thesis statement. So that to me is what I'm talking about of how can we leverage technology to get the most out of our students. So,
So important. I want to dive into that further. You mentioned the 4 C's for an educator that's hearing this maybe for the first time. That was a wonderful example of an activity that really fostered so many different elements. How as a teacher can I utilize these 4 C's? And would you mind diving into them a little bit further so I fully understand the differences between each one?
So like with creating, right? Like how can we get students creating something new? You know, you give them the information, and how can they create some end product? How can they take what they've learned and create something? Or in another example, if I'm giving them background information, and I'll use another example here. I'm sorry, I just I don't want to go on and on and on about the same thing, but I do a thing weekly called a cyber sandwich where I give the students a resource, video or a reading of some kind. And then sometimes I'm like, I need 2 important facts from each subheading. So now they're creating their own information. And so that to me is the creating part, creating something new, creating your learning, owning your learning, that kind of thing. So then the critically thinking piece comes from the questions that I might ask, or the critically thinking piece in a cyber sandwich might be, if those are important facts that you put down, well, why are those important? And I might walk around and say, why do you think that's important? This fact that you included right here, how does that help you better understand the overall, Louisiana Purchase or whatever, just playing off that topic. So communicating, I'm going to go with the same cyber sandwich idea here now. So communicating, in the second part of a cyber sandwich that we do is students pair up and they talk about the important facts that they just wrote down. I put these things down, and then I put these things down, and they talk about it. They discuss it, and they fill out a Venn diagram, and they compare, communicate, and share what they've learned with each other. And then finally, the collaboration piece is obviously the students working together as well. And in my opinion, the classroom should be a community where we're all working together, and that's why I love. And maybe we just added a 5th C, I guess, right there. But I just love this idea of students creating and sharing and working together towards common goals within the class. And so and I'm going to mention Edge Protocols. And so that's why I love Edge Protocols so much, and why I have made them a major part of my classroom. So,
this week we are discussing our weekly theme, and this changes every single week. It just gives us something to discuss, to dive into further. Our theme this week is about creating safe environments, and that could be physically, that could be emotionally. There's so many elements that can go into fostering a safe learning environment. When you're discussing this, I think there is so many components here that overlap of wanting to create a safe, collaborative, communicative environment for students to be critical thinkers and everything in between. How do you foster an environment that is open to the work that you are doing on a daily basis with students?
I think it starts with the message from the get-go. I know someone sent me an email and wanted me to write a blog, and I remember putting this in that little blog post that I actually start the school year off with telling the students that I don't care about social studies.
Mm.
Like at the end of the day, these students are going to, forget most of what they've learned. I mean, you hope that's not the case, but I mean, let's just be realistic. They're going to forget a lot of things from eighth grade social studies, and that's okay. But one thing they will always remember is how they felt sitting in this classroom. And so to me, it starts with setting the tone in that way of, I care about the people that are in this classroom. I care about the human beings that are before me. And so I start off every single class asking the students how they are doing. I just go around and I say their name, ask them how they are doing. And I've even had some students say to me that, I really like how you ask us how we are before we actually learn social studies.
Mm.
Like you put us before the subject.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yes, you guys are the subject. So you guys are going to come first. And then I also, as I mentioned, I write a daily message on my board every day. I got that inspiration from Monty Siri or Siri. I don't know. Maybe I said that wrong, but on Twitter, I just love that idea of writing a message every day on the board. And so like today I wrote, every day is an opportunity to make choices and learn, take advantage of today, be creative, ask questions, try something new. It's in these moments that we learn the most. And so that's my message today. And I don't know, I come in and think of something new. So I just set that tone from the get-go. And I not only do I talk the talk, but I try to walk the walk by asking these students how they are, writing messages on the board, being positive, asking questions. And part of it too is the EDGE protocols allow me to walk around the room. Like when they're doing a cyber sandwich, I can walk around this room, ask kids how they are doing, actually kneel down, ask them some questions, kind of get into their mindset a little bit. And that helps me get to know them on another level as well. It's not only can I walk around and teach, I can walk around and get to know them as well.
Yeah.
So
important. On the Daily Drop-In, we really appreciate looking at so many different lenses, perspectives, and ideas for our classrooms. But I really, really value when we can give our community a action-focused challenge, something that they can do within just a few moments during their day to get one step closer in doing what we're discussing here on the show. Is there any challenge that you can think of that we could challenge our community to take on this morning, take on as they're working with students later this afternoon in fostering this type of environment? I love even just challenging them to do the daily message on the board. What a great opportunity there.
yeah, the one thing I try to challenge myself with, and maybe this is a good challenge for everybody, is before every student walks out of my classroom, I shouldn't say my classroom, I should say before every student walks out of 505, because it's our classroom, really, But I try to talk to every student twice before they leave the class, and maybe that's a good challenge for everybody. Just every single student have 2 conversations of some kind, whether they're 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, who knows? Just try it out.
Powerful, powerful challenge right there. We'll be right back with recommendations we love. Good morning, everyone. We are finishing up our show here on the Daily Drop-In. There has been so many good tidbits from the show. So if you are just tuning in right now, make sure you go back to the very, very beginning where you're able to dive into so many different pieces. Adam, Wednesday is special. This day is always about ensuring that we're providing next steps to our community. Obviously, we have guests on the show Monday through Friday. We have themes on the show Monday through Friday. And as we kind of finish up, get to this midpoint of the week, we always love to remind people that while we will continue to discuss this topic as the week continues, we have a community that loves to be learners, and that teach better mindset of being better today and better tomorrow is something that really lives within us. And so we want to make sure we provide podcasts or books or resources or people to go connect with so we can continue to be learners in this area. Can you tell me, with the work that you've been able to do, and you're obviously so passionate, I know you've mentioned some books already, what are your go-to resources?
So my go-to resources, I wonder if I have them in my classroom here. Can I go over and grab my book?
Sure, why not? Go
All right.
crazy. I love
All right.
that.
All right.
As
Hold on here.
as Adam's doing that, I know go ahead, Adam, go grab that. I know there's a number of different books, resources, podcasts, depending on specific things you might be exploring. I will say that I'm sure Adam is going to be able to provide us with some resources that really directly relate to his passions. But as you're thinking through wanting resources on creating physically safe environments or resources in creating culturally safe environments, I want to challenge all of you to reach out to our team and be able to provide you with some of those resources. Obviously, we'll only be able to have a few recommendations here this morning, but there is a lot out there. So if you're looking for a podcast to listen to, a professional development to attend, or a book to check out, please feel free to direct message me, and I will try and connect you with somebody who can get you that support. Adam, I'd love to hear what resource you want to highlight this morning.
Well, I have a couple. All right. So I've already mentioned Edge of Protocols. That's a go-to book of mine. But the Why Don't Students Like School? I think that's a fantastic book. And I think this is something like how we learn, and like cognitive scientists studying how we learn. I think that's something that's missing from education. It's missing from, I don't ever recall learning how students actually learn when I was going through the College of Education. And so I think that's a fantastic book. Really opened my eyes to some things, and had me change the way that I teach a little bit. And so I'm probably going to go back and read that book again because there's so much good stuff in there. Another passion of mine is differentiation. And I think this book by Dr. Jane Kais is a phenomenal book. And it just came out, I believe, in 2021, August of 2021. And so, so many, and here's what I love about this book. I think sometimes teachers get caught up in this idea of differentiation, and they seem overwhelmed by it. But, and I get that. I totally get how we're overwhelmed with, 85 million things on our plate. But what I really like about that doable differentiation is that there are some really great takeaways from that book, and that she makes it seem like, yeah, we already do a lot of this stuff, or this is differentiation and you probably didn't know it. And so, that to me is what I like about it, is it already affirms what we do, but yet here's some other stuff that you can incorporate into your teaching. So,
two great resources. Thank you for providing us those recommendations. I love it. Adam, I do want to also make sure that if anybody has follow-up questions that they want to discuss with you, or even I encourage everybody in our community to go just connect with Adam as just fellow educators connecting, all working towards the same mission of being a little bit better today than we were yesterday, a little bit better tomorrow than we were today. Would you mind be able to share how people can stay connected to you?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about it, but I should have put my Twitter handle like you did in the name.
You're good. Share it with us now. No problem.
But you can connect with me on Twitter at Moler, Moler 3031. And then I'm also on Instagram at moler.adam as well.
Phenomenal.
So, yeah.
Adam, thank you so much for joining our show. I know that it's so early in the morning and you have a big day ahead of you on Wednesday, February 16th, but I really appreciate you taking the time, sharing your insight, sharing your resources. Phenomenal opportunity for our community here to catch up with you and continue to learn from other educators. I really appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Rae. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. For everyone else, I just want to wish you all a wonderful Wednesday. Please enjoy your last 2 sips of coffee as you get ready to go work with students, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you are in the Midwest, we want to encourage you all to be safe with some snow you might be getting. So keep an eye out, check the weather. Let us know, of course, if you are needing anything that our community here can support you with. And again, shout out to the one and only Amanda from the Teach Better team, who released a brand new course this morning on supporting mastery learning at an elementary level. So for those of you that are interested in checking that out, go check your email. But an easy link to go to is teachbetteracademy.com. For everyone, we hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you later.